Hey, Pam.
Hi, Governor. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Doing well. This rainy day, we're trying to survive and everything else happening in the world. I appreciate a few moments of your time today. Obviously, you were engaged in a phone conversation yesterday afternoon set up by the White House talking about what is to happen with Syrian refugees. You have real concerns, obviously, one of 27 governors who have those same concerns about the vetting of these refugees. Did that conversation yesterday with the White House do anything to put your fears aside?
Well, let me go back just a little and say why the White House actually responded yesterday. They responded because on Sunday night I decided to go ahead and do what I did at that time and say that no Syrian refugees would come into the state of Alabama because of safety concerns. And then nearly 30 governors joined in what I was saying, and they joined me in saying they were going to be concerned about their states also. So because of that, then the White House, for the first time, actually responded yesterday.
You also sent a letter.
I sent a very strong letter yesterday to the White House. Uh, they did call and they were on the phone with our offices. And, actually, they did not answer the questions completely because they really can't. This is a flawed process that we have right now. If you really look to see how refugees are screened, they're screened by independent contractors overseas. These are hired by the government, as far as what we've been told. Then the screening process here and the entry process in Alabama is done by a church.
Out of Mobile.
Yes, by the Catholic services, social services. And so these are volunteers. And they're supposed to report to the governor's office, we've been told, on a quarterly basis. And we're trying to track that down right now because we don't know that we've ever gotten any reports. So it's just a flawed process. The entire process needs to be revisited on a federal level and certainly on a state level. And the thing that I've got to do as governor, it's just like when we worked with the tornadoes and when we worked with natural disasters. This is a security threat to the people of Alabama. And so I have to do everything I can to keep the people of Alabama safe. We don't need but one mistake. One mistake would be a tragedy in the state of Alabama, and we just don't need to do that.
Well, Governor, today in Manila, the president was referring to all of this as just a lot of political posturing because he pointed out that, I believe with the exception of one, perhaps two of the governors, you are all Republicans. What kind of a comment is that, and how would you respond to that from the president?
Well, let me say this. The vast majority of governors are Republicans. And in fact, we have 32 Republican governors right now. So most of the governors are Republicans. There have been some Democrat governors. Well, it's not political. It really is dealing with the safety of our people, and that's what a governor has to do. That is my job, is to protect the people of the state of Alabama, and that's what I'm going to do.
And as an Alabamian, I respect that, and that is your philosophy. But my question to you is, how do you keep people out of Alabama? I mean, how are you going to close our borders? How are you going to make sure that nobody gets into our state who is not supposed to be here?
Well, what we have to do is look at the process, and the process is flawed at present. And it is outdated, and it's flawed, and we need to make sure that this process works correctly. And the thing that we need to do is to make sure that the people of Alabama are safe. Now, that is my responsibility. It's just like I said, in a natural disaster, the governor is in charge. Not really, the federal government is not in charge. The governor is in charge in a natural disaster, and this is similar. This is a case where we need to make sure that the people of Alabama are safe and secure, and the governor is in charge of that, not the federal government. And the federal government has to be it's a part of their process, and they have to make sure their process works correctly.
Well, where do you put the Refugee Act of 1980, which the White House says gives the president this authority to determine who is coming in.
Well, the White House actually has not. That question was asked yesterday on the call.
Yes, sir.
And they did not respond. They did not because they could not really respond to it. They did not respond to the state's authority on this, and so it is not clear yet. But I feel that I cannot wait on the federal government. That I have to do what I have to do as governor.
Could I ask you, what is your next step?
Well, we will continue to press for the answers that should be coming our way. We also will be pressing for revamping of the way that refugees are vetted. It's not necessarily the Syrian refugees, even though they're the ones that are imported right now. All refugees should be vetted correctly, and obviously they're not right now. And it's a very lax system, and we just the federal government needs to tighten up what they're doing.
Have you been in contact with the Catholic Diocese in Mobile, which obviously, as we just mentioned, is where that vetting is done right now? Have they had any comment about this one way or the other to you?
Well, we are trying to make contact with them at the present time, and we're trying to get the answers on that as we speak.
All right. Now, I believe this weekend you are headed to the Republican Governors Association annual conference. I have a feeling this is going to be at the top of the agenda.
Well, actually, I am here at the present time, and we are meeting on that issue, and I'm discussing that with other governors, and in fact, this afternoon I'll be with some Republican governors on that issue.
Well, Governor Bentley, we appreciate your time and your efforts, and we will continue to monitor the situation as you see fit to change it here in Alabama.
Okay, thank you very much, Pam.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.